All right, just want to check whether we are live right now. I guess we are. Let me just make sure that our screen, everything is okay. Cool. All right. So the question is, who's the biggest winner among the big three in District 15? How many of you want to make a guess? Comment your answers at the bottom, in the bottom section, right? So actually the battle already started, okay? But soon, I think we will be seeing a three-way fight, okay? A three-way fight. So if you do not know which projects are the big three, right, then I think likely you are not in the market to look at properties, right? And or maybe you are not very sure about the eastern side where District 15 is lah. Okay. So today, what I have for you is something very fresh out from the oven. Okay, it's really practically just came out from the oven, piping hot, and we are going to look into Grand Dunman. I think the big three, Grand Dunman is the one that is most shy, if you ask me. Okay, shy. Why? Because nothing much information has been given. You know, ever since they mentioned that they are going to launch this project, and they're so shy that you don't get much data, photos, information about this project at all. So today, right, if you have been trying to follow through whether it's Grand Dunman and what is going to happen in District 15, right, I think you're going to be in for a big treat today. Why? Because I'm going to, fresh out from the piping hot oven, I'm going to give you a glimpse, okay? And you can only catch this on this channel live, that I'm going to share with you, not just about Grand Dunman, I'm going to share with you the site plan, all right? I'm going to even share with you the layout, what kind of furnishing, what kind of wardrobes, the layout, the kitchen, the toilet, every furnishing I'm going to also share with you in today's major session about Grand Dunman. All right, so if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do me a favor and do it, because along the way, as we get more information for Grand Dunman, I will also share with you all the insights that I have from my years since 2009 in this business. What do I see from this project, and how we as homeowners and busy professionals should take some of all this information to make a logical decision in our purchase later on. Right, so I will be sharing with you quite a fair bit. And also, most importantly, we're also going to do a very short comparison. Okay, I'm sure many of you will want to do comparison between what the other two projects, and we are talking about the Continuum as well as Tembusu Grand. Okay, so we're going to do and see how they fare in terms of comparison, right? So before we even start into the specific, right, I want to promise you guys that you are getting this firsthand from this channel, and it will really do us a huge favor that we can continue doing this kind of education and updates to you as a homeowner, so that you can make informed decision before you even start buying a property. All right, so that's our goal. And of course, if you require a little bit more personalized approach in your property journey, okay, you really need somebody to give you more clarity. You need somebody to do some of your finances to make sure that your affordability is there, and to help you pick the right property for your own objective. Because I'm sure you know everybody in terms of objective is very, very different. So if you require somebody to help you with a more personalized approach, right, do reach out to us. My contact is inside the description, and we can help you to begin your journey in a systematic way and in a very safe and confident way. All right, so let us dive in straight into what I'm going to share with you today. I think this is going to be very exciting. Everybody is kind of waiting what is going to happen. All right, so of course, I will not cover a lot of the general information that you can find online. Okay, so let's not do that. I'm sure you're able to search those information yourself, but I just want to cover the liao. Okay, I really want to go deep into the liao. I mean the meat, the meat of things. Okay, so just to give you guys an overall summary, of course, Grand Dunman is done by Cindior. All right, Cindior in short form is shy. SHY. That's why they may be very shy to give us more information. And of course, a combination of CSC Land Group. And if you are not familiar with them, let me just give you some breakdown of some of the projects that they have done before. Okay, Verdell at Beauty World area, Bukit Timah, Upper Bukit Timah, Park Greenwich, Twin View is also by them. And of course, Gazania by Cindior, as well as Lithium, if you are familiar in the Bartley area. These are the two projects they have done before. And of course, the mega 1,400 plus units at Clementi, which is at Park Clementi's. Okay, so Park Clementi's is 1,400 plus units and on a very large, big space with high floor type. So it's rather very similar to how Grand Dunman is. So we're going to see how different are they considered. Right. So to share, I personally bought Park Clementi's. Okay, back in during the COVID 2020 period. Okay, but does that mean that this project is what you're going to buy in because it's by CIE or maybe because Edmund also buy? All right, so that's where we are here to kind of find out whether Grand Dunman, as much as all the information, the hype is going on, is it really that situation where we as homeowners are able to get this property at the right price? And if all the landscaping, the design, the furnishing, how well are they pushing it out to us as consumers? So let us find out. So this is where you're going to get the first glimpse of how it looks like. Because until now, there's not much information, there's not much photos even of how this project is going to look like. So let us have the first glimpse and you hear and you see it here in this channel first. All right, so give me a thumbs up inside the comment. Give me a type in first if this is the first time you see all this information. All right, so voila, this is the view from the PCN, which is the park connector. All right, you can see that basically the entire structure is very, very prominent. Okay, can you imagine if you're driving down Dunman Road, right? I think the most prominent development in terms of height is Grand Dunman already, easy. And you can see how they have positioned in terms of the park connector area where people can basically just cycle and walk all the way to the park connector where it links all the way to Marina Bay Sands. But you will have a very, how should I say, towering view, as you're driving down Dunman Road towards the Kallang area. So this is definitely going to be very, very prominent landmark, if you ask me. And it will be clearly seen by every single person, okay? Whether you are in the landed, whether you're staying nearby in the HDB, as long as you're driving past this Dunman Road, you will be able to witness this towers of property. And that's why it stands out. Okay, it stands out a lot. And let us take a look at some of the images that we got first from the developers. And of course, all this are still subject to minor changes here and there. So do take them with a pinch of salt. At this rate, I think most of the design should already be approved and shouldn't have much changes. But just in case, do our due diligence to make sure that whatever that I share today, if there's any major changes or minor changes, do use the latest one as your consideration factors. Okay. Right. So this is the drop-off point area. I think the developers has also done it very well, Lee, because it's around about a big space. And I think nowadays a lot of homeowners, they really want a proper drop-off area so that it's a little bit more large, more premium. And I think every one of us who have stayed in a condo, sometimes the jam waiting by the site for the security guard to take down the contact details of your guests. All this will give a different experience for you as a homeowner as well as a guest. So I particularly like how they have developed, put it out in such a big drop-off space. And next, I will also cover a little bit. Of course, for those who are familiar and you have been following a lot of channels and YouTube videos about the big tree, right? I think the location, no need to explain much. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with D15, I just want to give you guys a very quick summary about this location. Right, so if you talk about Grand Dunman, you don't talk about the other two, okay? Which is, of course, we're talking about the Continuum as well as Tembusu Grand. You don't know about these two other properties. And of course, right now we have Grand Dunman here. All right, so all these three properties, that's why we call them the big three, right? In future, of course, we are looking at, they are going to be more than big three, okay, maybe big four. So because opposite Grand Dunman, there's actually a bigger plot of land that is slated for GLS. And of course, there's no news about when this plot of land is going to be released for sale. But this is definitely for residential. So we will be expecting also another 18-story, because the plot ratio is the same as Grand Dunman, to be erected in the years to come. When are they going to launch? We are not so sure. And basing on the supply and demand of that area, we're going to see perhaps in the next 5 to 6 years down the road. But that one is just my estimation. And not only that, in future, it will become big four, and we will also have another big five coming, which is also by Tembusu. So this plot of GLS is also just opposite Tembusu Grand. So those of you who are actually exploring into buying nearer to Katong area where Tembusu Grand is, do take note of this extra GLS that's going to be launched as well. Same thing, date, when is it? We don't know. How are they going to launch this? When are they going to do this? Basing on the supply and demand again. Right. So let us once and for all not go into the debate. Like these three, right? At least for the first three, right? They are in different zones of these 15 can. Because I've been seeing some feedbacks from different consumers out there, and even some videos. They highlight maybe these three zones are kind of different. But I mean, ultimately, let us stop the debate once and for all, where we are all in D15. Of course, how we segmentize the entire D15 is D15 very big, or it goes all the way to C Club even. So, of course, are there some differences between the vibe, the audience, the prices? Definitely. Well, but of course, if you say that these big three are not in the same location, I think that's a little bit too far off, because we are very, very near to each other, these three projects. All right. So it's the same thing, right? Because everyone categorize their preferences very, very different. Am I right to say? So for example, if let's say you go for a movie, like for me personally, I like to prefer right in the center row, middle seat. Why? Because I want to have the best sound effect, the best visual as I can. And any other seats, I will not even buy. I will wait for other timings to buy that seat. That's all. Okay, but I know some friends, they prefer what? They buy the last row. Okay, they buy the last row, maybe because it's quieter, nobody disturb them behind, we won't know. And of course, some of them, they prefer the corner seats, and I did ask one of my friend before, why do you like the corner seats? You are having an odd angle to view. He said, oh, for me to enter and exit very easy, I go toilet very easy. So this is the very same thing for whenever we look at properties, right? Every one of us have a certain objective or certain preference of what we like or dislike. Okay, so I realize some of them, they say that these three are in different locations. I really don't see it. I mean, I'm an Easterner as well, so D15 is D15. Okay, but of course there will be some disparity in some of prices. That one we can't discount that. But let's say these three properties, if you are looking at Grand Dunman, you would definitely still look at the Continuum as well as Tembusu Grand to make a comparison. All right. So previously, if you have followed and saw some of the information and gotten some of the information from the Continuum as well as the Tembusu Grand, I think it will be the same for Grand Dunman. Okay, it will be the same because the distance is not too far off. You are still within the various MRT stations. Even the shopping malls nearby are all within the same, almost the same distance. So for location-wise, I think this is very prime. But later on, I'm going to share with you a little bit more about this location, which is through our latest research. We also managed to find more about it. But here, I want to tell you what is the main difference, okay? Similarity, I think quite straightforward, but there are some differences between Grand Dunman versus the other properties nearby. And I want to share with you all the actual thing that we can really use that to command in terms of our decision making. All right. None other than, of course, the MRT effect. Okay, we can't run away that Grand Dunman is the closest to the MRT. So we cannot say that, the Tembusu Grand as well as Continuum, they are near the MRT. But of course, which one is the nearest? Grand Dunman. Okay, Grand Dunman is still the nearest. So the convenience-wise, I think hands down, you no need to say. But the question is, I want to ask every one of you here. The question is, you must ask yourself, by buying a property near the MRT, right? What is the premium that you are willing to pay? Right? Of course, we do not have the latest price list yet. But how much will the premium be for a property near an MRT? So this is something that we have to ask ourselves. Why? Because largely the premium that you paid will also impact your gain in future, correct? That means in future, if let's say you intend to sell this property, will you be paying that premium so that your profit in future will be lesser? So this is something as a homeowner, whether you're buying for own stay, buying for investment, you do need to take note of this consideration factor. I think this is very important. And if we look into the MRT effect, right, which I did share in one of my videos, so if you are following me, try to search for MRT, I would have a video that I explain a little bit about the MRT effect. Okay, so in the past, right, everybody is asking, which MRT station are you near? How many of you agree? If let's say you bought a property 10, 15, 20 years ago, everybody buy a property, they always ask which MRT which MRT? Because everybody is going into the MRT effect during then. And if you are not near an MRT, basically it's a very ulu place. Okay, but fast forward now, right, till 2030, how many of you know that actually 8 in 10 households are going to have MRTs within 10 minutes of walking distance, right? So every 8 in 10 households by 2030, we are all going to be 10 minutes walk to the nearest MRT, you see. So the question is, now for Grand Dunman, we are 1 to 2 minutes. Will there be such a huge premium to command in future our sales price to be even higher for premium? So this is something I also really want to let every audience and consumers out there to kind of think through a little bit. You know, sometimes we definitely enjoy the convenience because that's where we in and out every single time. But we have seen properties that is near the MRT, but they are easily $300,000 to $400,000 PSF more just because they are near the MRT. So then question is, does it justify for me to buy that kind of premium? All right. So of course, it's still a very big question mark because we do not know how much SHY, Shy, Xing is going to launch for Grand Dunman. So we're going to stay tuned. And once I have the latest information about the pricing, I will also do an analysis on whether the pricing makes sense in the entire B15 and projection for the next 5 to 10 years in my future videos. All right. So this is why we need to kind of look at the MRT effect a lot. Of course, I'm not discounting that MRT is not important. Okay, I'm not discounting that, but we have to equate that to the premium of the PSF of how much are we going to pay. So of course, if it's launched at a very attractive pricing and it's still near the MRT, you will know the answer yourself. Okay. So speaking of location, right, let us look at the nearby surrounding, because I think this is very important if you look at the surrounding building heights. Right, so being Grand Dunman, we are basically the red color zone. Okay, so directly opposite, they are also slated for the GLS, which is also the same plot ratio as Grand Dunman. So we'll be expecting also about 18 stories kind of building in front of you. So why is this important? Because if let's say today you are interested in Grand Dunman and you kind of wanting to kind of select the right facing, right unit type, right pricing, do reach out to us. We are doing this on a very regular basis to analyze, and which is why we are able to help clients to select the right property. And sometimes it's very kanchong, right? Whenever you ballot, and then wow, on the spot you have to decide whether the price is right. Will you be forced to purchase a property? So we help our clients to select the property way in advance, and we have a lot of criteria to ensure that we enter safely. So if you need some help in data analyze, even the unit type, the layout, which one makes sense, my contact number is in the description. You can just reach out to me and we can always go through a discussion on how we can help you move forward with your property plans. All right, so facing like this is very important. Of course, the yellow color zone, these are all the landed facing, which of course they will definitely be commanding a little bit more premium because they're totally unblocked. All right, so let's take a look at the views. So if you're looking at the landed side, which is of course this entire area, right, you can see that the first thing you will get is the East Coast Park and the sea view. Of course, sea view you need to go quite a fair height. Okay, but the advantage of this direction of the views is your front are all the landed properties. So landed properties, the maximum that they can do is 3.5 story, and we are in the prime district, the Mountbatten area, where most of them are also 2.5 story. So even if you want to get a kind of unblocked view, you do not necessarily need to go very high, to be honest, okay, to be direct. But if you really want the sea view, then I would say go as high as possible. Okay, the distance is very comfortable. You definitely get the sea view in a longer stretch. But if let's say you are really just looking at the unblocked longest distance to the next high rise property, then actually you do not need to go for such a high one. Of course, the higher, we all know the PSF jump will be also much higher. So throughout this entire stretch, you'll be having quite a nice view. I think this is one of the main selling point for Grand Dunman, because it's very rare, right, for in the east side that you're able to get this kind of unblocked views. And I think this is definitely one of the premium, which I think they will definitely be priced this as a high premium at the same time. All right, so let us look at from another view how they are being like, just to give you guys a quick overview. All right, so later on, I will also be sharing with you all the more details about, and I will share with you all more photos also. Also stay tuned and continue liking this video. I appreciate that a lot. All right, of course, look at the upcoming possibilities of how Grand Dunman location is. And perhaps some of you may not have some of this information. I just want to quickly run through this a little bit. Besides the nearby, okay, because we talk about somewhere nearer lah. Okay, they are basically upgrading the Mountbatten CC, and this will definitely boost up certain form of activities, and also the of course the new MRT stations we all know, which is the Thomson East Coast Line. So the entire area will, Dakota Crescent site will also rejuvenate, because we are going to see a lot more HDBs, the newer ones there, and that becomes part of your exit strategy group. Why? Because those who stay nearby, very highly chance 80 to 90% of buyers in Singapore, they would like to buy back where they used to stay, they are familiar with. So the HDB upgraders are definitely your potential buyers in future once Grand Dunman is TOP. All right, so besides some of all these possibilities, we ourselves also have done some research. And this is also something that, as we are doing D15 research, we also came upon some major uplifting. Okay, because I think a lot of times when everybody is talking about the big three, right? The Continuum, Tembusu Grand, as well as Grand Dunman, there is this concern about the oversupply, the supply of these three projects. And in future, let's say we have 4 and 5, will that area be too dense in terms of number of units? Because even with this big three, we're talking about easily how many? 1,000, about 2,000 plus 3,000 units already. All right. So in future, would it increase to 4,000 plus? Is the sustainability of the demand going to be still in east side? So when we were doing our research looking at the master plan, that's what one of our very, very key 5-point analysis, the first major thing is always to look at transformation in a certain location and how the location or area is going to boost up in terms of value, or is there a demand in future. So looking at this, you can see that, of course, Paya Lebar area, I'm sure every one of us, we know, just look at this area. All right, we know that existingly is already with commercial, is linked to Paya Lebar MRT. But do also take note that basically there will be a new hotel site that is going to be done nearby. So and besides that, there will be 3 other plots. 1, 2, 3. They are all the reserve plots, actually 6 new plots. Okay, 5, 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are all reserve sites where government is putting it as a backup to determine whether do they want to build even residential, commercial, or even white sites. But at the moment, if I look at how the urban planning is, definitely they will be looking a little bit more on the commercial element. Maybe 1 or 2 plots could be a mixed development, we do not know. Because I think the entire Paya Lebar, this is to set forth for what? For the future Paya Lebar airbase transformation. So these are all in line with Beyond 2030 plan. I'm just giving you guys a look into the magic crystal ball, a little bit of how we see it. And not only that, what we are looking at, why east side will definitely get a little bit more vibrancy. There will still be demand, because you must always understand how Singapore plans their property. Okay, you must always understand. Singapore always plan infrastructure first into a certain location. They will build the MRT, they will build the roads, they will build some community center, shopping mall first, and then they will slowly introduce residential inside. Because with infrastructure in, the demand will start going into that location. And when the demand goes in, when the residential properties go in, people will see that, hey, I can see myself living there. Does it make sense or not? If it makes sense, just share your comment that you learned something also lah. Okay, thank you so much. So this upper part of the Paya Lebar side, right, we are going to see quite a fair bit of changes. Of course, the Tanjong Katong shopping mall, which has been there ages. All right, since I was young, my grandma used to stay at Hague Road side, so I walked up and down for so many times. The building is still there. So of course, it has already been slated to be upgraded to a new concept, which is something very exciting. And of course, besides that, the Geylang Serai Cultural Precinct will also, and Juche Complex will also be updated. You see, so I would say, in my opinion, because of this entire area, it has always have that kind of, old school vibe. Our City Plaza is still there. You see, so I think it's only a matter of time. This entire area will be shifted into the new modern era, and I would say the big three are leading the way into the new future of how District 15 is going to be transformed. And because with all these new upgrades, right? And I'm sure a lot of you who are Easterner, you will know there hasn't been much exciting things happening in the East for the longest time. Okay. I think of it this way. The last biggest news was Thomson East Coast Line. Right? But those are just like for the Amber and Mayor people. For those, the others, like nothing much different because we still have our East-West line, right? You see. But I always believe when Singapore, they plan, they always have a bigger plan moving forward. So I'm actually very, very excited why this Paya Lebar area are going to be transformed. Of course, one, with the future Paya Lebar Air Base, there's another big potential there that we're going to see things changing. But there's also another location towards this side, right? That I draw the arrow lah. Okay, why I draw the arrow? Because there's something very exciting coming up. Okay, but not so soon. Okay, I really cannot share too much about this, but from how I study the urban planning of how Singapore is going to progress, there will definitely be another phase of property in the east side, in the next area, likely beyond the 5 to 6 years down the road. And I'm very excited about that because that likely is going to be my next location that I want to go into. Okay, my next property investment on stay kind of location. Want to make a guess where this arrow is pointing. Okay, so whoever guess it right, we can always meet up for coffee and chit chat a little bit about property, and I can share with you a little bit more insights. So make a guess where. I can tell you this is very, very exciting things that is going to come up. All right, so let me just share with you a little bit of the Geylang Serai and the Joo Chiat side. They're going to really transform this. So this is also another upgrade that we're seeing. And that's why in D15, I would say from a supply perspective, yes, right now we may see that, hey, there's quite a fair bit of supply. But remember, the projects are only going to be ready in the next 4 to 5 years down the road, or 3 to 4 years down the road. And with a lot of all these new things coming in, the demand will continue, and D15 has always been a prime jewel in the east side for a lot of buyers and investors. All right. So coming back to Grand Dunman, okay, coming to Grand Dunman, just to give you a quick overview, where quite a big plot of land. Okay, so they are almost the same size as the Continuum as well, and of course from a leasehold property. Okay, so one thing that you also must also take note that the maximum height control is about 64 SHD, and which means that the height level should be about 2.8 meters for ceiling to floor, okay, for per unit. And this development, we are talking about 1,000 units, which in the density of that area, we only have another 2 more condos there. So generally, the density is still very, very comfortable. And but I think one of the key thing why Grand Dunman is also very attractive to a lot of buyers is they have 3 basements. So 1-to-1 parking lot. I think this is a very rare situation that usually we don't see, especially with a project that is 1 to 2 minutes away from MRT. All right, do you agree or not? All right, so usually Singapore have a guideline that, if your property is near MRT, you can have 70 to 80% of car park lots enough already. Okay, that's the guideline. But for Grand Dunman, they managed to actually put in 1-to-1 car park lot. So I think this is very, very impressive, and that's why I think they do 3 basements. Also, in case you do not know, for Grand Dunman, whenever they whatever they purchase this property, they also have to do up the landscaping at the park connector side. Okay, so they also have to kind of spend a little bit more to make sure that the entire area with the landscaping connecting to the park connector, everything is done in a very nice way. So will that also consider that because of all these extra costs, will the cost be factored into the consumer? That is also another question. So if that, because of that, there's a slight premium to pay, there's also the MRT to pay. So we don't know. Let's see how they structure their prices, especially with the nearby competition of the Continuum, which is freehold, and of course the nearest competition, which is Tembusu Grand, which is also a leasehold property. But of course, they are also not near the MRT. They are not near the MRT. So there's some comparison here that we want to look into it. So how many of you are ready to take a look at the layout, the site plan? Sorry. All right. So the site plan, I think, cleverly done, very, very cleverly done. They know that if they look at each other when they are too near to each other, I think everybody will give this property a miss. So they are doing a circular concept where they have a big pool in the center, about 80 meters pool. and the distance between each other is about 51 meters, thereabout. So it is a good distance, and the pool itself is about 80 meters in length. See, so one key thing that I always I mean, if you look at the past, one of the reasons why I bought Park Clementi's is also their layout is similar. All right, so that means you have a big space in the center. All your blocks are not kind of facing each other. So I think this is a very clever layout for the site, for every single unit, so that you kind of get your unblock facing, especially if you are looking through the outwards lah. Okay, and of course inwards ones, usually you are only seeing the pool, which is still fine. All right, so they have cleverly done this approach, and they also set in, basically this is the drop off. Okay, drop off. And also there are two clubhouses, one on the right side of it and the other one, which is where the gym is. So they have done quite a fair bit in terms of setting up the right things in a development. So of course, for the property this scale of 1,000 units, you need to have almost everything lah. Also, that's why they even set in a tennis court, and this tennis court is sunken in one, so that you know, everybody don't like to see the lights, don't like to hear the tennis court, tennis ball sound. So they actually purposely sunken this tennis court lower. Okay, so you generally have everything from the pool deck, you have the jacuzzi, and later on I'll share with you some photos of what I see that is interesting. Let me just clean this up a little bit so that you all can see better of the site plan. Okay, yeah. All right, so I'm going to show you, besides the pool, the clubhouse just beside it, there's also one area which, when they show it, I'll share with you my first impression, or my first thought when I saw it. Okay, but let us see some of the photos of some of the clubhouses. Okay, so this is the one where the gym is. Okay, and you're facing the entire pool. So while you're exercising, you have a nice 80 meters pool in front of you. So kind of unblocked. So the distance between that to the next block is rather far away still. Okay, and I will also show you the other clubhouse. So this is on the other end, where if you can see, this area is where the shops are. So basically there are also shops where you can enter from perhaps this side gate. All right, and this is also open to the public. So I will presume that there will be a little bit more like cafe style, bistro. Why? Because you're by the PCN and you are by the river, right? Yeah, river, drain, longkao, whatever you want to call it. But there's water element. Okay, there's water element. So I think it will be a very nice chill out place in this location for a very busy day, and then you just come down for a drink, kind of concept. And of course, this is also open to public. Well, I mean, if they do F&B, of course, I think more people will be going for lah, right? So, so this is another clubhouse on the other side, which basically highlights the grandness of Grand Dunman. And if you take a look at the pool area, so you can see this is where the gym is. So you have a very long 80 meters depth to take a look at, to see. So the next photo that I'm going to share with you is something that I was quite, it's a kind of a shock to me. Okay, well, I show you why. So when I first saw this photo, right, I was like, wow, very nice eh. The tree, they have a tree house, they have playground, they even have the splash play kind of concept in this area. All right, so this is tucked between two blocks in the center, if you can see from this very small area in between the two blocks. So they actually cater quite a fair bit of space for the kids. And if you look at this, I tell you, when I saw this, right, and then they even have a bridge that connects from the clubhouse to the play area, I was like, wow, this is like so nice. This is almost like Gardens by the Bay, mini Gardens by the Bay, that you have everything, right? You still got the water playing area. Then when I was looking at it, then my next question comes, wow, wouldn't it be very noisy? Because we know that with this kind of activities, the kids will go crazy. So this, when I saw this, the first thought that came into my mind is, I think Grand Dunman, they are also very cleverly to kind of allow buyers, home stayers to buy this property and to have enough facilities for the kids growing up. So it's not just about buying because it's the MRT, but there's small little thoughtful things that I see that a lot of the developers, they now try to do away from playground, children's playground, right? But why the Grand Dunman, they put in such a massive scale? I think they do see that the effect of the location, the distance to the various schools is definitely one. And with the kids there, then they will be attracting who? More parents. So the parents will leave the kids with their nanny there, and then they can go and do their own stuff, maybe chill out by the cafe, right? So this is something that when I see it, I was like, okay, this is very targeted to the family types. And of course, if let's say you're buying from an investment per se, this could be also another angle that you should look at. All right, so let us look at the breakdown in terms of the units. All right, so generally for 1,000 units, you will have all sorts of configuration. And this is the property you go from 1 bedroom all the way to 5 bedroom, even the penthouses. But what is different between this development and Continuum as well as Tembusu Grand is the uniqueness about Singhai, okay, that they have dual key properties. So this is kind of classic in all their developments. They always build dual key. Of course, is dual key something that will be very comfortable to exit in future? That one, everybody have their mixed opinion. I will not touch too much on that. But if any one of you really like to hear my opinion on it, well, do share with me by clicking on the link in the description. We can discuss a little bit more. All right, so let us study the layout. Okay, before I start show you all the layout, let me just show you all the view per se. So at least you all have an idea of, where the views are on how, and this is something that we already just gotten. Let me just share my screen here. All right, so you can see, right, we recently just gotten this latest information, right? And then you can see the entire, okay, so let's look at this is the view towards Gonghua. Okay, this is the view towards Gonghua, okay. So you can see this big plot of land, which is what I mean. This is the GLS land, of course, stated to be released for sale, which we do not know. So imagine if, let's say today you are, so this is Dunman Road, okay? This is towards Kallang. So if you are facing this side, just take note that in future, there will be also another 18th floor project in front of you, okay? Not that you cannot buy because the distance are still quite a fair bit. And relatively, I find developers may price this very attractively. Or, of course, it's a big question mark in the front plot. When are they going to launch or not? We also would not know. So enjoy it while it lasts. That's all I can say. All right, so coming in from Dunman Road, you have a drive-through into it. So do not need to worry, because if you're coming from this direction, you have to drive in, right? But even if you're in the opposite direction, don't worry, there's always a U-turn here that you can go in. So for Grand Dunman, to exit to PIE, ECP, actually all very convenient. So I hear some reports saying that, this one can only go to ECP. I said, come on, Singapore, how big only? You just make one U-turn, you can go to PIE also, right? So sometimes you really need to study a little bit more into all these details before you make a decision, or just to hear what people say. Okay, so we just have to be mindful about some of this. Do some research yourself, go on the ground, walk the ground. These are all we need to do because we are buying $1 million property, or more than $1 million property. Let's not just take the words for granted. Okay, do some research yourself as well. All right, so if you can see from here, so this is a tennis court sunken in. So let's take a look at the right side, the left side of it, which is the clubhouse side, which is the PCN. All right, so can you imagine if, let's say, you are in this block? Okay, so this is the unique block that is the most premium one. You can see how your view is. If, let's say, you're on high side, also you can maybe even see Sports Hub with fireworks, Marina Bay Sands. Yeah, so that's why this tower is the most premium one. And you will have the greenery of the water view. Okay, relatively unblocked, but you have to go quite high, okay, because you have the rest of the properties nearby. But also do take note, this is the west facing. Okay, so some things good, some things, of course, we have to compromise a little bit more. Okay, of course, this block, you are the nearest to the MRT. Okay, this is the nearest to the MRT. And I think developers are also very smart to position how they want to sell their properties. So some of all this we have done enough, so we are able to half guess what's their thought process, which is why we are able to help our clients always to select the right property at the right price to enter. So in the next 3, 4, 5 years down the road, when they want to exit, it's actually very, very easy for them. Okay, let us look at the where I consider as the most premium view, which is this side. All right, so generally, what kind of types of units? Of course, I think they will comprises definitely 1, 2, 3 bedroom types here. All right, because this is the view you're going to get. Wow, you see. I mean, of course, from here you can see, wow, very far lah. Okay. Can see the sea view. You go 18th floor, 17th floor, I'm sure you're able to see, but whether it's a little bit of the sea view or not, that one really, we need a drone to go up and then take a look. But right now, even from this height, you can see that your view is spectacular lah. Okay, totally unblock. All the landed property in front of you are 3.5 story maximum. And because of the line of sight, you have an entire spectrum of area. I think so. This is definitely one of the most selling point. And anything that we know is a selling point, I don't think it will come cheap in terms of the premium. They definitely will load more premium in this facing. Okay. So of course, this other facing is just as good for this other block, because you are also getting almost parallel in terms of the view. So really depends on your objective when you're buying this property. You know, are we looking at that we want to stay here for good, this is going to be my last property and I want to enjoy the breeze, the view, then you have to, I mean, I don't mind paying premium for it, to be honest. Okay, and those who have been to Dakota, you know, Waterbank, you will know how breezy it is if you're on the high floor. Actually, even if you're not on the high floor, because of the unblocked circulation of wind, right, you will practically get free aircon, free aircon every day. Okay, so this is because we have been doing D15 for quite a while, so I'm very familiar with how even the wind works for different zone in the east side. All right, so yeah, so from here, generally your views are fantastic. Okay, your views are fantastic. Yeah, see here we can see Continuum under construction as well. Okay, and here you can see Tembusu. So you can see everything from this height. All right, so practically this is a fantastic location just near to the MRT. All right, so with this, let us go back to what is one of the most important information that I want to share with you, which is the layout. Okay, so let's dive into the layout, and I will do, of course, a general comparison of the layout of what we have. Let's see. Okay, so let us take a look. Of course, I'm not going to show every of the layout. Okay, I'm just going to share with you a few of them, one each. So this is the 2-bed plus study configuration. So you can't go too far above, and of course they do a good job doing a dumbbell with a study concept. But also do take note, they do not have storage just like the Continuum. All right, so the Continuum, if you have been to the show flat, you have seen the layout. All of their layouts, be it 1-bedroom all the way, they have a unique storeroom factor in. So they managed to create a storeroom even for a 2-bedroom, even the 1-bedroom types. So it's very interesting that they managed to squeeze that in. And so the only difference is, of course, you get a study, but there's no additional storage. So the question is, I want to ask every one of you also, if today you're given a choice to buy a 2-bed or to buy a 2-bed plus study, generally, how will you determine what to buy? Of course, if let's say the pricing, of course, there's always this price PSF factor, but let's just say that from a basic necessity perspective, you will go for a 2-bed, 2-bath, or 2-bed, 2-bath plus a study. All right, share your views in the comment, you know, and I may want to do a video to explain my own view and theory about these two type of properties, because especially if you're looking for investment perspective, right, there are some other key consideration factors you have to determine if you're comparing a 2-bed, 2-bath, or a 2-bed plus study configuration. So these two are very, very different. So those who want a little bit more insights about my views and theory about this, just comment 2-bed plus study inside the comment. Okay, and then I'll do a video just for you. Great. All right, so this is the typical type of 2-bed plus study, and you can see that their views are the premium one. Okay, so they know a lot of people may want to buy this property, so they also will want to price it and put it at the best place where people can enjoy. Also, of course, how much premium, we will have to think through what's the arrangement going to be like. Okay, so then let's look at the next type of size, which is, of course, a 3-bed. And later on, I'm going to do a little bit of comparison, because 3-bed is always what many buyers want to buy, especially as a family. So later on, we're going to do a little bit of assessment to do a comparison between Grand Dunman, the Continuum, as well as Tembusu Grand. A quick one, just to see how do they pan out when they set up for each other. Okay, I think this is something quite interesting now. So let's move. So what Grand Dunman has done for 119 square feet. Okay, basically they have laid out this configuration plus a study. Okay, so you have your typical foyer that comes in your kitchen. And one particular thing I like is that they actually catered a proper yard area, for this, so that you can do your laundry, you can actually have your drying laundry system all installed properly. So you have this space catered, and of course the entire household shelter, you can use it for storage. And of course, the typical 3-bedroom layouts are, I mean, you can't go too far off away. Unlike one of the recent projects that was launched, they have don't know how many different type of layout. And so it's so confusing even for the buyers, right? But I think for Grand Dunman, it's kind of very typical that you have the 3 bedrooms all tucked in one side. And the additional study is definitely a good touch, where if you want to use it, double it up as a storeroom, double it up as a study, or even a small music room, you can do that. So this is definitely something that I find is very doable. But let us see this property compared to the other types later on. Okay, so let us take a look at Tembusu Grand. So if you can remember that layout from Grand Dunman, now this is Tembusu Grand. Generally, this is also a 3-bed plus study. So this is I don't know, are they trying to compete with each other? Because they create almost the same size, almost the same layout, same configuration. All right, so nothing changes. So I think it all boils down to, which side do you prefer, the Katong side, or do you prefer the Dunman side, or whether are you really a fan favorite of the the MRT. All right, so the difference of this, of course, they have a bigger foyer entrance, like if you ask me, in comparison to Tembusu Grand. Tembusu Grand has a smaller foyer. See, so the rest of it, more or less plus minus, you can't go too far off the difference. But let us take a look at the closest comparison for the Continuum as well. So Continuum, of course, is slightly smaller. Of course, they have bigger ones, but I'm just using this size as a comparison. You can see typically 3-bedroom designs are generally the same. And for the Continuum, you're also getting a yard area, a household shelter. And this is the one that I was sharing with you about, the store. All right, so very uniquely, all the Continuum properties will have this extra store area, which helps because who can say that they don't want a lot of store area. All right, so this is definitely one area that we are seeing that definitely needs a lot more comparison if let's say you're buying a 3-bedroom, because there are many different sizes. And for Tembusu, for Grand Dunman, what I'm showing you is a 1,119 square feet unit, right? They definitely have another normal 3-bedroom, which we don't have the layout yet. So once I have that, I will do a full-fledged, okay, I'll do a full-fledged comparison about all the different layouts between all these 3 properties. Okay, so if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so, because if not, you will not be notified when I do that video, and then you'll miss it by choosing the correct properties for yourself. Okay, so it has never been done before, doing at such a scale. So be prepared. Either I will break it up into micro videos, or maybe I do one very long one, and you'll have to sit through with me all the way. All right, so let me consolidate some of all this information, and I will give you my truthfulness of how I see all the different layouts. Which one is more premium? Which one is the top my list? Which one is my least favorite? And I will share with you the reason why at the same time. Very similar to how I did a comparison for reserve residences as well. Okay, so I'm seeing layout because I always look at the exit strategy. The exit plan is always very, very important the day that you buy. Okay, you do not want to buy into something already, then later you realize your layout is something that the buyers don't prefer, and you will end up have to sell at a lower price, or you have to make do with the price point that you did not set for. All right, so do subscribe, get a notification, so that when I do the video in the next upcoming video, you will get notified. All right, because I believe layout is very important, and this layout is definitely one of our 5 points analysis always before you buy a property. Okay, so always remember, buying a property is very easy. is only when you sell. Okay, when you sell, you always have to think of it as a resale property, and whoever the next buyer is, what are they thinking? Make sense? All right. So the 4-bedroom, of course, 4-bedroom. The interesting part is they have configured the 4-bedroom and the 5-bedroom as under their grand grand type of properties, and the 5-bedroom, sorry, the 4-bedroom is still the normal one, but they do come with a private lift lah, or the configuration. So I don't know. I mean, what do y'all think? How do y'all see private lift? Because I mean, I don't personally prefer having any private lift lah. I always find, do I really need that private? A condo is already very private, and I want to be even more private. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but if you have other thoughts about private lift, well, do share in the comment. I would love to, hear from you. What are your thoughts? And maybe I will do a little bit more research on this as well. Because personally, from a personal experience, I don't necessarily need the private lift. Okay, and then there's this private lobby area. Do I really want to make it that kind of exclusive? All right. So for this 4-bedroom, the part is they not only have the wet kitchen, they also have the dry kitchen. Let's quickly look into the 5-bedroom layout. So typically a 5-bedroom, massive, huge. Okay, it's also the private lift. And I believe because 5-bedroom types of size, you will be getting a landscape. Okay, a landscape layout, which is very, very rare nowadays for condos. All right, so usually right nowadays we are only seeing the 4-bedroom and 5-bedroom types that have a landscape layout. So if you can see from here, this is the premium, very, very premium stack where you will get the 5-bedroom as well. All right, so typically they have done kind of a semi dumbbell lah, okay, and one bedroom junior master at one side, and then the other 4 at the other side. So yeah, so this is definitely something that if you are a big family and you're looking to stay in this property for a long time, I mean, this is the only kind of selection that you have to go for. Okay, let's quickly go into the kind of collection. So I think this is very popular nowadays. A lot of developers, they always have 2 to 3 different kind of collections. And then of course for Grand Dunman, they are doing the luxury collection as well as the grand collection. So let us quickly look at what are the furnishing that they're providing in terms of the kitchen appliances. So for the standard collection, we are talking about the electric for the oven, stove, as well as Samsung for their fridge, washer. So typically, I think based on the appliances that they're providing is considered quite premium, especially using the electric. It's a very well-known brand. Servicing everything is actually very top-notch. But let's just see how it pans out in terms of the 2-bedroom design, how it looks like. Also, they even have built-in cove lights for the kitchen cabinet. They having quartz tabletop, countertop, very, very important, quartz. All right, so that when you spill off anything, you will not get stains. Very, very important. So for 2-bed, it's an open kitchen concept for this layout. That's why your washer and dryer is all tucked in one area. Okay, so let's take a look at the luxury collection. Luxury collection a little bit more. Wow, you got wine chiller, the bigger fridge. And of course, for the bigger units, they usually have the washer and dryer separate. And let's take a look at the wet kitchen, 3-bedroom. How do they lay out for this configuration? So the entire view for luxury is of course very grand. You have everything tucked in properly, but nothing beats seeing the real thing. So if those of you who are interested to look into the show flat when it's ready for a private tour by me personally, all right, just contact me personally and we can definitely arrange to, go and take a look. And let me share with you my own insights based on your objective of why do you need to buy this property and will this property actually be suited for you. All right, so this is the wet kitchen concept. And then we have the dry kitchen, which is the 4-bedroom type. Just now I shared with you the layout. So the dry kitchen is tucked in one corner, which is typically long time ago, their dry kitchen is always like a bar counter, right? So I think a lot of people, they prefer not to have that because that bar counter right in the center kind of waste space. So now most of the developments, their dry kitchen is all tucked at one corner. So to me, I find that is just another set of cabinet. So but we talk very fancy dry kitchen. All right, so definitely from a consumer behavior changes, I think developers are also adjusting to how consumers see it. And later on, I'll share with you one very important change. Okay. And share with me later on when I share that, whether do you see that as a consumer behavior change? And would you personally, as a homeowner, like that to be in your house? Okay, later on we will address that shortly. So let me keep it a little bit longer for you to stay on this video. Okay. All right. So the quartz countertop for the dry kitchen. I think this is something very comfortable, and of course the luxury collection for the wet kitchen type is also generally very nice. So the grand collection type of appliances, and these are all for the bigger units, all the bigger units, the 5-bedroom units, which is the grand collection. So only the 5-bedroom units have grand collection. So you can see everything kind of upgrade, upsize. Or dry kitchen, wow, you can see the furnishing, the color scheme, a little bit, okay, I don't want to share, like very Chinese, okay, very grand lah, or using very the big tiles, the color, the grains from a design perspective. So it gives you a very luxury feel. And I think for you to pay for 5-bedroom units with your private lift, I think you want to have this kind of feeling, all right, to buy into, even though it will definitely not be cheap lah. Okay, let's take a look at the wet kitchen. The wet kitchen design is also very nicely laid out. 5-bedroom, you need to have ample space. So even for the toilet appliances, everything are also a little bit slightly different. So if you can see the standard and luxury collection, these are the standard ones. Let's take a look at the style and the type that they are doing. So this is the 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom kind of grand collection. They will have the different shelvings, so the layout. This is the junior master for the grand collection. You can take a look. They also have built-in lights, cabinets, and all these are the ones that they have fitted up. And the master bath, let's take a look at the master bath. Master bath also very nicely done. Okay, of course, nothing beats seeing the show flat lah. So do make an appointment so that we can actually slot you in earlier. I will believe there will be definitely a lot of interest, and a lot of interest will be spilled from the Continuum as well as Tembusu Grand. I think everybody is waiting for Grand Dunman to make a decision which property they want to go for, and I'm not surprised that that weekend other developments will also have a lot more sales. Definitely. Okay, this is how it works. Singaporean like to play their cards very, very tight to their chest. Okay, for the grand collection for the 5-bedroom, okay, you can take a look at the, of course, the appliances that provide. So everything kind of upgraded as well. Okay, and the design is also very comfortable. So this is one thing that I want to get everybody's opinion. Okay, so as we all understand, back in the early days of condominiums, there's always this bathtub in our toilet. Okay, so along the years, many of these bathtub are no longer existent. Developers no longer build them. So the question is, do you favor bathtub or you don't favor a bathtub? All right, share your comment. Do you prefer a bathtub or not? Okay, and the reason why I ask this is because for Grand Dunman, they have made a very unique observation. Okay, they have changed out the bathtub because they know that, hey, nobody uses it. But of course, this is only for the 5-bedroom types. And then they put in a what? A steam room instead. So the question is, if you are buying a 5-bedroom unit, or even let's say there's a steam room in your toilet, right? How many of you actually prefer to have a steam room, or you rather have that space for other purposes? All right, share your comment in the section below. All right, because steam room to me is like, wow, I mean, I'm very practical lah. Wow, more electricity lor. Or then if moisture, how? That means condensation or more mold. So I'm more practical in that sense. So of course, I'm sure Grand Dunman has their own logic to put in this steam room in replacement for a bathtub, which I think is definitely a good initiative. But of course, in the long run, the practicality of this, will consumers actually really use a steam room? Share with me your views. I really love to see from a different perspective so that I can analyze and to see how the current consumers are looking at for properties as well. Okay, great, thank you. All right, so for the luxury, your master room, I think wardrobes very nicely done, everything fitted in, and I can share with you the grand collection. Wow, the 5-bedroom types. Of course, this one is for 5-bedroom lah. Okay, so I think generally the entire Grand Dunman has really provided a very, very nice design in terms of their quality, in terms of their finishing, and everything is done with class, you see. Right, so of course, this is the first wave of the information that we gotten, and because you have subscribed to my channel, you are the first one to actually get this latest, fresh from the oven information. And there will definitely be more updates along the way in the next couple of days and weeks. And I will also promise you guys that whenever I get a new form of data, new form of research that me and my entire team have done, I will also do put it on the video so that you as a consumer, before you buy any property, you at least have seen the different perspective and options before you buy into the property. Because I think the last thing you want is you buy into a property without really understanding and really did your research, and you have not worked out your numbers well, and you just blindly move in because of FOMO effect. I think that's not the right way to buy properties. We take a slower approach to really analyze, to do the research, and then when we are confident of doing it, we move forward. You see, so that is why we run our community, our channel like this. Is really to inform anyone out there who are buying properties that when you need help, there's always help provided, but you need to reach out to us so that we can guide you on a more personal basis of what you can or what you cannot do. And so with Grand Dunman, definitely there are still more insights that we have done the research, but we have not reviewed yet. And along the few days, definitely you will see more videos as such. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, all right, put the subscribe button, press the subscribe button, and really put the notification so that whenever there's new videos regarding property, regarding updates about the market, you will get informed immediately. All right, so my contact details is already in the description. If you want to reach out to me and seek some personal advice about how to select properties, what are the price entry that is safer for you, depending on your objective, right? Whether it's own stay or for investment, then reach out to me and I will be more than glad to kind of go through a consultation with you to kind of see how we can help you in your property journey personally. All right, with that, for those still here and you've been following me, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, your comments, your interactions, and I really hope to see you guys on a more personal basis so that I can guide you on the right path into the future of real estate. With that, this is Edmund from Singapore Real Estate Insider. I shall see you guys real soon. Cheers.